Now in 7 days, the country heads to the ballot. Kenyans will be casting multiple votes. It will be the third general election and the fourth for the presidential election after the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution. Tonight we look at the race as it enters its final stretch. Good evening, but first, these are the stories making headlines tonight. IEBC to avail voter register at polling stations tomorrow for voters to verify their details. Uhuru, Raila and Ruto in last-minute vote hunt ahead of Tuesday's election.
Nimekuwa nikifanya kazi hiyo na kuna wengine wengi ambao wangenisaidia hata kufanya mara 20, lakini kazi yao imekuwa kuzunguka na matusi.
Uhuru was campaigning for Raila in Kiambu and Kisumu, while Ruto camped tent in Nakuru, Baringo and his home turf of Uasin Gishu.
Si Uhuru Kenyatta rafiki yetu, si ndio? Si yako na siku 7 aende nyumbani. Na jana, simulisikia jana, alikuwa zamani anasema ati hawezi kuhandover kwa William Ruto.
Plus, family, relatives and friends of Kianjokoma brothers mark 1 year since they were murdered.
Siwezi sema we have come to terms with it. We have not come to terms with it until that time when justice will be delivered.
They are still hopeful justice will prevail. And government insists to have paid millers to avail the subsidized maize flour as Kenyans say the product is not available. Catherine Simaloi is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. To our top story tonight, and 7 people were killed on Sunday night attack at a village in Turkana County. Among the dead are children who were burnt beyond recognition in Napeitom village in Turkana East Sub-County by suspected bandits from neighboring Baringo County. Several houses were reduced to ashes. Turkana leaders led by Loima Member of Parliament Jeremiah have condemned the incident, calling on the government to conduct a security operation to weed out bandits from Tiati.
Nasikitika kutambua ya kwamba kama mkaazi wa kijiji cha Kapedo na Napeitom ward ya kwamba sisi wana wa Kapedo na Napeitom tunachinjwa kama mbuzi, tunachomwa kama mbuzi. Hii ni jambo la kusikitisha kwamba wenzetu wa Kenya majirani wameamua kuchukua sheria mikononi mwao. Nataka kuuliza president na wewe Daktari Matiang'i, je, sisi ni wa Kenya kweli? Mbona tuchomwe kama mbuzi? Sisi sio wa Kenya. Hii ni hatari. Serikali imenyamaza. Sisi kila siku Kapedo na Napeitom, Kainuk, Kaptir tumechoka na tumechoka. Serikali chukua mamlaka yako, deal na hao wakorofi ambao wametusumbua. We are just tired. How can we be slaughtered like goats and animals? And the government of Kenya is just watching. We need this peace by all means, even if it means by force. We are tired. As the women of Turkana, we are tired crying every time.
And as a county, as a leadership of Turkana County, we want to give the Kenyan government, especially the Department of Security, 14 days to act on this very lethal issue that has dawned on our people. We cannot live back and say we are campaigning when our people are being killed.
It is so sad that our neighbors, who are also Kenyans, are killing Kenyans in their own country, in their own homes, and roasting them alive. This is very inhuman. I don't know how a government can stand aside and watch all this happening while the government is supposed to protect the people.
Well, tonight the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has kicked off the distribution of key election materials to polling stations countrywide ahead of next week's Tuesday general election. IEBC, which is operating from the Bomas of Kenya, its National Talent Center, has welcomed the move by the Ministry of Education to close schools to allow the Commission to handle election logistics. As our senior political affairs reporter Apollo Kamau now reports, the Commission is still grappling with network challenges in the transmission of election results.
Ahead of Wednesday's arrival of the last consignment of ballot papers, IEBC, which is operating from its command center at the Bomas of Kenya, that will also serve as a national tallying center, has begun the distribution of election materials to the 46,229 polling stations countrywide, with the Commission welcoming the move by the Ministry of Education to close public schools that will serve as polling centers.
We are very much prepared and ready. Today, we have started distribution of strategic materials to the counties.
The closure of public schools countrywide, which will play host to the polling stations, paving way for IEBC to affix the voters' register in all the polling stations 7 days before the polls, as required by law.
And by end of business tomorrow, we'll have all the polling stations with the voter register outside. With
21.2 million Kenyans registered to vote in next Tuesday's general election, IEBC holds no extra ballot papers will be sent to the polling stations, allaying fears of ballot stuffing in an intensive make-or-break week for the Commission, facing the litmus test to hold a credible election that marks the end of President Uhuru Kenyatta's two-term reign.
We are not printing anything more or anything less. So our voters are 22,120,000. So multiply that by 6, because every voter will get 6 of the 6 elective positions.
IEBC is, however, still grappling with network challenges in the transmission of election results, with the Commission now updating the actual number of polling stations with network challenges from 1,100 to 1,272 polling stations. Apollo Kamau, TV47.
Elsewhere, President Uhuru Kenyatta has cautioned Mount Kenya residents against voting for individuals who he says are after the country's resources ahead of the August 9th general election. Speaking during the commissioning of various projects in Kiambu and Gatundu, the head of state told residents that they will be left in tears should his deputy and UDA presidential candidate William Ruto rise to the House on the Hill. Zainab Mohammed tells us more.
Speaking during the commissioning of various projects in Kiambu and Gatundu, President Uhuru Kenyatta has affirmed his support for Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance presidential candidate Raila Odinga, whilst castigating his deputy and UDA presidential aspirant William Ruto. According to the head of state, Mount Kenya residents will be left in tears should Ruto rise to power.
Kenya ni ya Wakenya, na kama Wakenya hawajisikii wanatosheleka pahali walipo, hatuwezi kuwa na amani. Na ukiwa na mtu ambaye anaona haya, ako ndani ya serikali, hataki kuyatambua mambo ya ukweli, lakini kuna huyo mzee ambaye anatambua ya kwamba injustice to any citizen is a recipe for disaster. Na anataka tuwe na hiyo amani.
The head of state, while defending his last-minute project reopenings, urged the residents to elect leaders who aim to take the country forward.
Mimi naamini vile tulifundishwa na wazee wetu, mtu anafanya kazi mpaka dakika ya mwisho. Ama inaendaje? Unafanya kazi mpaka dakika ya mwisho. Sio hakuna mambo ya kusema ati hakuna kazi. Sasa tumetimiza, na sasa kwa sababu hakuna kazi mpya tunaweza kuanza. Si tuanze kufungua zile tumemaliza. Na ni zingine nyingi ambayo hatutaweza kufika. Lakini zile tutaweza, wale wengine watakuja watakuja kuzigamba nazo.
Uhuru commissioned a 24 billion Kariminu Dam in Gatundu North and issued more than 5,000 title deeds in Nzoia sub-county in Kiambu County. President Kenyatta has also officially opened the new ultra-modern Kisumu railway station located in Busia Road next to Kisumu Cotton Mills. The station, constructed as part of rehabilitation works of the Nakuru-Kisumu Railway and reintroduction of passenger service on the route, is equipped with a spacious ticketing zone, lounge and powerful public address system. Zainab Mohammed, TV47.
Now, with only 1 week to the general election, campaigns have intensified in the country as politicians wrap up their vote hunting mission. The Kenya Kwanza Brigade took its charm offense to the counties of Uasin Gishu and Baringo counties, which are among Deputy President William Ruto's strongholds.
The Kenya Kwanza Brigade has toured the counties of Baringo, Nakuru and Uasin Gishu in their efforts to popularize the agenda for Kenyans. This comes in the backdrop of last-minute campaigns as the campaign period comes to an end on 6th of August. Speaking to residents of Uasin Gishu County, his backyard, the second in command, has expressed its surety in becoming the 5th president of Kenya come August 9th. The DP further sarcastically lauded President Uhuru Kenyatta for being a champion of democracy, while emphasizing the Azimio One Kenya flag bearer will accompany him as he leaves office in a week's time.
The characters at the office of the president, the evil people who are planning day and night evil against this country. They want to split communities. They want to cause disharmony. We want to tell the characters at the office of the president, shame on you. You will not succeed in dividing the people of Kenya.
It is too late to create a problem between the people of Rift Valley and Mount Kenya. Na tunaona wamekwama. That is the only remaining strategy. Na hiyo inafanywa na Karaja Kibicho na machief, and they have roped in the National Intelligence Service.
In Kitale, Nzoia County, Justin Muturi has called out the Azimio One Kenya presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga, stating that he's not fit to lead the country due to his attempt of treason in 2017, where the former premier was illegally sworn in as the people's president by lawyer Miguna Miguna.
Mzee Kitendawili, you lack any claim to any democratic credentials. You cannot tell us somebody who has attempted to overthrow a lawfully elected government can claim any democratic credential.
The officials of the Kenya Kwanza Brigade, who accompanied DP Ruto to the Rift, have urged Kenyans to ensure that there is peaceful elections in their respectful areas in efforts to avoid the 2007 post-election scenario.
We want a peaceful transition. Tunataka tutoke kwa muhula wa Uhuru na tuingie kwa muhula wa Ruto kwa njia ya amani. Hatutaki fujo, hatutaki watusumbue, hatutaki mambo ya kuharibu taifa hili.
How comes, Mr. President, you want to leave this country divided? Mimi nataka kuambia hivi wale wanapanga njama kama hizo. You have already bought your ticket to ICC. The people of Kenya are not going back to politics of ethnicity, politics of tribalism, politics of all kind of politics.
The second in command has further promised to restore stability as far as insecurity is concerned in Baringo County once elected president. Reporting for TV47, I'm Flora Limuki.
Thank you, TV47's Flora Limuki. Moving on, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition flag bearer Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua are intensifying their road to State House, traversing at least 2 counties every day in a bid to drum up support for next week's general election. Odinga and his allies toured Kirinyaga and Kiambu counties on Monday, castigating their main competitor, Deputy President William Ruto, for what they termed as politics of deceit. And as Mike Kagwongo now reports, Odinga says Ruto has detected defeat and is using President Uhuru Kenyatta as a scapegoat, urging Kenyans to vote wisely on the 9th of August.
As the clock ticks towards August 9th general election, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition presidential candidate Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua will not relent their vote hunt as they intensified their campaigns in Kirinyaga and Kiambu counties Monday in an effort to popularize Azimio la Umoja's bid ahead of the much anticipated polls next week. In what appears to be his final stab in Mount Kenya region before Saturday's campaign's final day, Odinga squeezed the second-in-command Deputy President William Ruto to the farthest end following his alleged attacks to his boss President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Uhuru Kenyatta is not on the ballot. Uhuru Kenyatta is not on these elections. Wachana na Uhuru. Uhuru naenda nyumbani. Angaliana na Raila Odinga na Martha Karua ana kwa ana.
The former premier now saying Ruto has already sensed defeat and is using Kenyatta as a scapegoat.
Uhuru sasa anatembea tu anaaga. Si anatembea anaaga? Sio. Kwa nini unamtusi kila siku? Shida gani? Shida gani? Hii jamaa tayari maona atashindwa. Sasa ameanza kutetemeka. Anataka huruma kwa wananchi. Anapiga kelele mingi na hasira mingi sana. Hasira ni nini? Hasira ni hasara.
Addressing residents of Kiambu County in Makongeni, Odinga said it was the opportune moment for Kenyans to eliminate corrupt regime and replace it with trustworthy leadership headed by himself and his running mate Martha Karua.
Tumesema mimi nyinyi kwamba adui wa Kenya ni 4. Ugonjwa, ujinga, umaskini na ufisadi. Ufisadi inahujumu mali ya umma. Ufisadi ndio sababu naona maendeleo hayawezi kuendelea mbele kwa sababu ya pesa ambayo inaibwa kila siku. Kila siku wanaiba bilioni 2.
Tutawafagia wote kwa njia ya kisheria. Hakuna mtu tutaonea. Hata hao wapinzani wetu wanabweka kila mahali. Mimi nawahakikishia vile nimeelezewa na rais mtarajiwa, kila mtu atakuwa sawa chini ya sheria.
Odinga then held a rally at the Ministry of Sports constructed stadium, Kirigiti Stadium, where he was treated to a stirring welcome from area residents as he implored them to give the coalition a chance to serve them so that they could better their lives.
1963 na 202. Ile nyingine ilileta uhuru, hii ya pili ilizaa katiba mpya. Hii ya tatu ni sasa ya ukombozi ya uchumi ya Wakenya.
Odinga's allies insisting that Azimio la Umoja coalition was the only outfit with Kenyans at heart ahead of next week's election.
Wale wengine hawana sera. Walienda mjadala, waliongea juu ya bottoms up. Hawakuongea. Hawana nini? Mambo yao ni kukuja, kudanganya watu, kuhandaa watu.
Sasa enda polepole. Hapana kuleta ujeuri, hapana piga kifua, hapana leta mambo mingi. Maliza uende polepole. Na hii ndio mara ya mwisho Raila kukuja hapa kama raia. Raila atarudi hapa kama rais wa Kenya. Raila atarudi hapa kama commander-in-chief of the defense forces.
As elections closes home stretch, Odinga and his allies are traversing close to 3 counties every day in a bid to drum out his support before Saturday's final day of campaigns. Mike Kaguongo, TV 47, Kirigiti Stadium in Kiambu County.
Thank you, Mike Kaguongo, for that report. Moving on. The family, relatives and friends of the 2 brothers who allegedly met their mysterious death in the hands of police officers from Manyata Police Station today held a memorial service at their home in Kianjokoma, Embu North Sub-County. The family took the opportunity to call for an expeditious hearing in a case where 6 police officers were arraigned in court in connection to the killings of the 2. Moige William has the details of that report.
Family and friends of Emmanuel Mutura and Benson Njiro met at the homestead of the slain brothers in Kianjokoma area, Embu North Sub-County for a memorial service. The two lost their lives at the hands of the police officers, with anger and grief still dominating the home village of the brothers.
Siwezi sema we have come to terms with it. We have not come to terms with it until that time when justice will be delivered.
Whatever has happened to us as a family, we are praying to our Heavenly Father not to happen to any other parents, because it is very painful.
The cry for justice was emphasized at the gloomy event. 6 police officers, Consolata Njeri, Benson Puthia, Lilian Chirono, Martin Wanyama, Nicholas Sang and James Mwaneki are facing murder charges over the death of the Kianjokoma brothers. The father of the two admitting they are yet to come to terms with the death of their children.
Na ukweli ni kuwa hata kama walifanya hii majanga watachukuliwa tu, hata wanyongwe. Ukweli ni kuwa vijana wangu hatarundia hii. So sioni, tutaanjikaza tu, lakini pando mambo ni ngumu.
13th of August last year, the bodies of the two brothers were laid to rest in one grave at their parents' homestead, and once again the family got the opportunity this year to put a wreath of fresh flowers on the grave of the two. Benson Njiro was a student at Don Bosco College, Karen, while Emmanuel Mutura was a student at Kabarak University studying law. The bodies of the two were found at the Embu Level 5 Hospital morgue after they were allegedly arrested by the police officers for allegedly violating curfew rules which were then in place.
Na pia tunaendelea na kuona kwamba ushahidi ambao tulipata umefikishwa kotini na wale wataalam wale pathologists ambao walifanya postmortems waweze pia kufika wapeane ushuhuda wao.
Hapa uhusiano ya polisi na raia bado inakuwa tu imedorora tu sana. Hapa ni kama kuwagi na service mzuri ya polisi kwa sababu ya relationship, uhusiano. Hivyo ndivyo sasa imekuwa hapa.
On the 9th of February 2022, the wheels of justice finally commenced to roll, with 6 officers arraigned in court facing murder charges. The death of Emmanuel and Benson led to chaotic protest in Kianjokoma, lasting for 2 days, where one person was shot dead during the protest for justice of the Slim brothers. The family of Emmanuel and Benson have pleaded for an expeditious hearing in the case involving the killing of their sons. The hearing of the case will resume in September this year. Muige William, TV 47.
Moving on, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has ordered the closure of schools as of tomorrow ahead of the general election set to take place on Tuesday next week. According to a statement from the Ministry of Education, learners will resume learning on the 11th of August 2022 after the general election. Schools and parents have been advised to ensure that learners from all basic education institutions proceed on a half-term break. The directive has not been taken and received well from a section of parents and heads of schools, as parents claim that the decision is short notice, while heads of schools say that they are in the middle of doing midterm examinations. Moving on, Agriculture CS Peter Munya insists that the government has paid for maize subsidy to millers, even as Kenyans continue to complain over the lack of subsidized maize flour. CS Munya says investigations are ongoing to establish who among the millers is hoarding maize flour in the country. This comes after he was asked by the crowd while campaigning for Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga in Turkana County.
Haijafika hapa ya 100.
kwa ndugu Kerugoya hakuna. Ni hawa mila wanatuchezea. Kwa sababu sisi tumewalipa, pesa iko tunawalipa kila siku, na kunao wanataka kuificha. Saa hii uchunguzi inaendelea kwa ofisi yangu kuona nani ameficha hiyo unga ndio iwafikie. Because pesa iliwekwa na wanalipwa. Kwa nini wanaendelea kuwalipisha pesa nyingi? Hiyo tutawachukulia hatua wale wameiweka. Na kesho mimi nitakuwa nikizunguka kuona ni wapi. Kesho sifanyi kazi ingine. Ni kuzunguka huku nikiona ni wapi wanaficha hiyo unga ndio muweze kuipata. Kwa sababu kwingi wameipata. Sasa kama hapa Kerugoya haiko, tutajua ni nani, ni mila gani anauza hapa na ni nani, kwa nini haijafikia wewe. Sawa sawa. Shinda ya Kenya ni uporaji na undanganyifu na wizi. Tusipomalizana na hiyo hatuwezi enda mbele.
Now it's 1 week to the polls and the race across the country continues to intensify. That will form the base of our discussion a little bit later, but before we get into that discussion, let's cross over to Kitale, where our very own Boniface Barasa joins us live to paint a picture of how the race is shaping in Nzoia County. Boniface.
Na ukumbuke alikuwa ameniambia atanicall.
Officials who operate under his jurisdiction. But least but not the least, first thing first, we've seen this county being listed as one of the battlefield, be it for Kenya Kwanza or Azimio la Umoja. This is from the recent polls that were conducted by various opinion polls company have listed Nzoia County being a battleground. That means that Kenya Kwanza lands who are seeking to ascend to power come August 9 election are battling it out with Azimio la Umoja just to control this county or to control this region. But initially, NASA, the so-called NASA coalition, in previous election 2013 and 2017, enjoyed massive support in this county, and we saw the first governor of Nzoia County, Patrick Kayemba, being elected under NASA ticket, that is in 2013 and 2017 respectively, and he has served for 2 terms consecutively. This time round things have changed. We've seen Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula together with NC boss Musalia Mudavadi teaming up with the deputy president's second in command William Ruto to form Kenya Kwanza Lands. These are things that probably might tilt the scale this time round when it comes to voting or when it comes to 9 August polls. And remember, initially they used to be team players together with Azimio la Umoja boss Raila Odinga, with the Azimio la Umoja flag bearer in these August polls. And we wait to see what will happen when it comes to presidential poll or presidential election. We wait to see what will happen. But a number of dynamics put in place or put into perspective. A number of dynamics. Nzoia County is perceived to be home to the Bukusu community, who are the majority in this county, or who enjoy a huge voting block of the county. Then followed by the Kalenjins. Talking of the Kalenjins, we're talking of the Sabaot and Nandi, and all these people. Then we also have the Agikuyu community who reside in this county. And looking at the factors, it favors Kenya Kwanza because we have the Kalenjin voting block, we have the Agikuyu, and we have the Luhya voting block. When it comes to gubernatorial contest, the IBC was able to clear 7 candidates who are eyeing Nzoia gubernatorial seat that will be battling it out immediately. Chebukati whistle, he gives them a green light to get into the polling station for Kenyans to exercise their democratic right by voting. And so far, despite the fact that IBC having cleared 7 candidates, the rest has been narrowed down to two-horse race narrative, and that is Dr. Chris Wamalo is serving his second term as Kiminini Member of Parliament, is eyeing the Trans Nzoia gubernatorial seat on a Ford Kenya ticket, but under the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Then on the other side of Azimio la Umoja, we are having DAPK gubernatorial candidate is George Natembeya, who served as former Rift Valley Regional Commissioner. George Natembeya, who is former Rift Valley Regional Commissioner, he's battling it out, and he's the Azimio la Umoja sole gubernatorial candidate. Therefore, when we are talking of the two-horse race narrative, the race, the competition, the stiff competition is being experienced between the two who are battling it out. And from the polls that were conducted recently, we saw the two fellas who are neck to neck. But from the recent one, Dr. Chris Wamalo was ahead at 55%, followed by George Natembeya, who came close at 49%. Then we want to see how things will fall out come 9 August. But remember, DAPK gubernatorial candidate George Natembeya is being supported by Defense CS Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa. He enjoys that massive support. And from the recent tour of Azimio la Umoja boss Raila Odinga, he endorsed Natembeya for a second time, just to assure the electorate that he is his candidate in this 9 election. Then yesterday we saw DP William Ruto leading his team, or his brigade of Kenya Kwanza, endorsing Dr. Chris Wamalo for the gubernatorial contest. Then today in the evening we saw Rigathi Gachagua with William Ruto running mate in this presidential election, together with National Assembly Speaker Justin Turi, were drumming up support and engaging the Agikuyu community to endorse Dr. Chris Wamalo gubernatorial bid. But let's engage our local briefly here, just to see how things will be. Tuambie majina yako, unaitwa nani, na wewe unaonaje mchuano wa Ikulu na mchuano wa ugavana hapa?
Mchuano wa gavana hapa, sisi tumeona tuko na ndume mbili, Natembeya na Chris Wamalo. Lakini sasa vile tunajua, wacha mambo ya 49%, Natembeya ako na 54%. Sasa hapa chini hatujui huyo ndio gavana. Huko juu the president tunajua ni William Samuel Ruto kwa hii ground ya Trans Nzoia.
Briefly, let me also engage this voter here. Tuambie majina yako. Tumebaki na siku 7 kabla ya uchaguzi wa Kenya, tuelekea debeni kufanya maamuzi ama kuwachagua viongozi mbalimbali. Tutamchagua mbunge, tutamchagua gavana, tutamchagua rais. Lakini mchuano wa ugavana na urais, wewe unaonaje?
Kwa upande wa gavana na rais, mimi naona huku Natembeya ameshika chini sana. Na kwa upande juu naye William Samuel Ruto ako juu. Na kitu yenye tunaomba, amani ni kitu ya muhimu sana. Uchaguzi inakuja na inaenda, but ule tutachagua huyo ndio rais wetu. Na naomba wa Kenya wasidi kuwa na amani.
You've got it clear from the voters or local voters here, local residents who are voters come August 9 election. They will wake up early in the morning, brace the cold chilly morning to get to the polling station just to cast their vote, and that is how things are. Trans Nzoia gubernatorial race has been narrowed down to two-horse race narrative, and when it comes to presidential contest, Trans Nzoia has been listed as one of the battleground counties. Therefore, we continue to pitch sent come August 9 election. We'll keep on informing our viewers on the happening in this county, the Food Basket County. Over to you, Abakar Abdullahi.
Thank you, Boniface Barasa. Boniface Barasa is keeping an eye on the Trans Nzoia gubernatorial race, which is shaping, as he indicated, as a two-horse race between Ford Kenya's Chris Wamalo, who is the current Kiminini Member of Parliament, and George Natembeya of DAPK party in the Azimio larger coalition. That is a county of interest, primarily equally because of the number of votes and voters in that county. County that is being angled both by Azimio la Umoja and Kenya Kwanza ahead of the 9th of August. Boniface Barasa will be keeping us up to date with the latest political happenings from that end of the country. Needless to mention, as the Food Basket County of Trans Nzoia County. Time for us to take a short break here on the county's television. Stay with us. We still have a lot lined up for you. We'll be back with more after this break.
Trisim School of Medical Health Science and Technology is a premier training institute for market-driven courses. With state-of-the-art facilities, competent and dedicated members of staff, and linkages with the medical industry, you are assured of a bright future when you study with us. Enroll today in our campuses at Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay.
Tunataka uwazi na kazi.
Number one, nataka Kiambu iwe 24-hour economy. Nataka kuweka mataa 20,000 na sigojei August. Naanza saa hii. Nataka kuunganisha mabarabara za Kiambu. Lami ningetaka kuweka 1,000 kilometers of road tarmac. Ile economic empowerment nataka kuweka ni viwanda vile tunasema agro processing industry. So these are the objectives I want, because najua Kiambu, if you put enabling environment, watu wa Kiambu wanajua kazi yao na watawaifanya. Nikinipatia hiyo kiti, hiyo kazi nitawafanyia, hiyo kazi naijua. We can do that very very quickly. Mimi na ikona ile ujumbe, nakwambia mimi ni engineer, mhandisi mimi.
Watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back to Kenya's fastest growing television. Thank you for staying with us. And as the clock ticks, remember you can trust TV47 for an objective coverage, wall-to-wall coverage of the election from Nzoia County. Let's get to Naivasha, where preparations are on top gear, with IEBC officials leaving nothing to chance. Our very own Willie Dennis Njiru is keeping an eye on how that race is shaping and joins us on the broadcast now. Willie, bring us up to speed with what we know so far.
Thank you very much, my colleague in studio, Abdullahi Abubakar, coming to you live from Naivasha. Indeed, as you said, IEBC is leaving nothing to chance as we talk. Ballot papers from the governors, senators, women rep, up to the MCA are already here in Naivasha. And as we talk, they are at Naivasha Boys Boarding Primary School, which is indeed the tallying center for Naivasha constituency. But without taking much time, just a few notes about what is happening here in Naivasha. We are having instances of mass movement that have been witnessed here. A rather sad situation to watch unfolding. Each morning we have a bridge at On Your Way to Prison, where we are witnessing cases of people moving away from this town, and it is quite a sad thing to say. We have also witnessed cases of panic buying during the day, and people have said that they'd rather have enough stock, and that is food items with them, other than having situation from bad to worse, with a lot of anticipation and sad stories that have been witnessed previously, that they will not wish to have a chance on this. Without taking much time, I hand over the mantle to our colleagues who are here. Let me have this gentleman. Tell us your names and what is it about? Bring us up to speed about the current situation in Naivasha politically. Start by your names.
My name is Isaac Mugoya. I'm an aspirant for Viwandani Ward here in Naivasha. And we have definitely today been called by IEBC officials to go and attend and attest to the ballots arriving here in Naivasha. And of course, they have come as a surprise. We were on our campaign trail. Around 4:30 p.m. we got a message from the returning officer that the ballot papers have arrived and we should rush to go and confirm that all the seals are there, and even the unloading at the Naivasha Tallying Center, which is at the Naivasha Boys Boarding Primary School. It is really disappointing, of course, for an organization like IEBC to give information almost at the end of the day, because they had the whole day planning. Definitely they should have given us an ample time, because there is a lot of aspirants and election observers that would have wanted to be there during the offloading of the ballot papers that they were not available, of course, because of the time constraints.
Before you answer my question, which is initially, when did IBC bring the papers? Let's have a sister here tell us, when, as the case has been witnessed today, is it a replica of what happened last time? You could begin by your names, please.
My name is Catherine. I stay here in Naivasha. According to how you have asked me, mostly it's not capable. It's not according to the last time what they did. And we are also asking ourselves how it's going. Because seriously, we don't know what's going about the IBC, about the ballot papers being here right now. And also we heard about that the presidential ballot paper are not yet. So we are having some questions on our side. But we are okay. We are just waiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. From the perspective of an aspirant, is this a good move? Is it a worrying trend? Is it early preparations? What is it for the IBC?
Of course, from the IBC perspective, would say that probably they are trying to prove a point, because a lot of like presidential aspirants and other aspirants across the country have been questioning the readiness of IBC to handle this election. But today they have proved beyond reasonable doubt that actually they are really ready to hold the election. They're only waiting for the day. But it has come as a surprise, because we are not used to ballot papers coming a week earlier to the election. Maybe 48 hours or so to the election. That is something normal that you have been used to. But a week to the election. And actually, the ballot papers have come at a time when schools are still in session. Of course, there's a circular that has been given by the minister, the CS for education, that the schools have been closed effective today. Of course, tomorrow all the kids will have gone home. But our question and what actually is worrying me, like right now, the ballot papers are in the dining hall of that school at the tallying center, and all the students, the pupils for that school, are still there.
Before we exhaust the limited time we have here, what are the insights and perhaps peculiarities that you have seen around town that you can mention?
Of course, there's something you mentioned about mass movement. We've experienced some of our neighbors, the residents from Naivasha, moving to the rural areas. But what we are telling them, kindly make sure that you maintain peace. We would not want to see such a scenario in the coming elections. Make sure that wherever you live, that place you have called home for years, make sure you use your vote to develop that place, to choose your leaders, because now what people definitely are going to do at home, they are going to choose leaders for their parents and for their brothers and sisters who are at home. While they choose their own leaders, it is also very good to make sure that that place you live, because you definitely would be wanting good resources and good development, make sure you also partake in the decision making of that area. There is also an issue about panic buying. We've experienced in supermarkets and in our shops and the markets, people are buying stocks and putting them at home in anticipation that there is going to be election violence. But something I've noted also is that within Naivasha and Turkana County at large, I believe it is something that the government has done deliberately, because Naivasha is a perennial hotspot for post-election violence. And we have seen a lot of influx of security officers in plain clothes, security officers, of course, in uniform. You've seen a lot of them here. And I believe that the people who are moving, probably they believe or they think that there is going to be violence in this area. But we are always preaching peace. Right. We have talked to our people. We've told them, kindly maintain peace. You will always be your neighbor's neighbor, and you always be your brother's keeper. Kindly maintain peace and love each other. We only have one country. We have one Viwandani, we only have one Naivasha. Kindly do your democratic right, go and vote, leave the rest to the institutions that have been given that mandate by the government to count the votes and to relay the results.
Thank you very much indeed for your time. My colleague Abu Bakar, as you've just heard it from here, there are quite a number of issues that have come up, and it is a clarion call to every citizen to ensure that we foster peace ahead of next week's general election that is expected to run smoothly as earlier planned by IEBC. From me here in Naivasha, Abu Bakar, I take it back to you in studio. Perhaps we could cross over to another region for insights from that region. Back to you in studio, Abu Bakar.
Thank you, our very own Willie Dennis Njiru, who is joining us live from Naivasha, part of the larger Nakuru County. And more than ever, remember, here at TV47, the microphone will be yours, you the viewer, because it is you the viewer who will in 7 days' time hire a president, a member of parliament, a senator, and a member of the county assembly, and a woman rep. So it is you the boss, and we will give you that duly deserved credit to make the right and wise decision on behalf of Kenya. From Naivasha, let's get to the world of sports now. Our very own Dennis Otieno is with me in studio. Dennis, good evening. What do you have for us from the world of sports?
Good evening to you, to Abubakar Abdullahi. Now, it is a